Joining us today via telephone, retired Air Force General Michael Hayden. General, we thank you for joining us again to talk about this. Now, you're a military man who also ran the Central Intelligence Agency and the National Security Agency, so you're not a politician, but you've had to deal with politicians. My first question this morning, is this expulsion based on German politics?
I think that's a significant part of it. It's probably not that alone. I mean, after all, after our conversation a few days ago, the Germans think they may have found another source of American intelligence inside their Ministry of Defense, so that kind of piled on. I have to tell you, JD, expelling, I mean, if the press accounts are right, expelling the station chief is certainly an escalation of the dispute, and really underscores how seriously the Germans are now taking it. And I take your point. There's probably a fairly significant political quotient in what the chancellor figured she had to do.
Well, Mike, speaking of politics, let's get a sampling from both Germany and from the United States. First, from a member of the party in opposition to Chancellor Merkel. The quote is as follows: U.S. policy has simply been to stonewall, to answer no questions, and to leave Germany alone with this problem. There is substantial anger in the government. Meantime, back here at home, Saxby Chambliss, the senator who is the ranking Republican on the Intelligence Committee in the world's greatest deliberative body, so they say, said this, quote, "I'm concerned about why the station chief is coming home, and we'll see how that plays out. It's unusual for our station chief to be sent home by the host country." General, you touched on it a second ago. The expulsion of such a high-level official is more than just dramatic symbolism here in terms of disapproval. So you have the Germans taking this action. What does the United States need to do to mend fences in this case?
Well, the first thing you need to keep in mind, JD, is that sending the station chief home is, as already suggested, a very powerful, it's almost sacramental, sign and substance of German anger. Now, here's an additional angle, though. I mean, the station chief is known to them. The station chief is their friend. The station chief is the individual who arranges cooperation between the two intelligence services. The station chief is also the conduit through which vast volumes of American intelligence is shared with the German service, the BND. And so, in essence, they've taken somebody they know, and look, if any of this is true, it would have happened under his authority, so I see the connection. But you have to understand, let's just assume everything we've heard is true. The Angela Merkel cell phone story and the BND officer and the Ministry of Defense officer. I'll just concede all of that. The German-American intelligence relationship is still 90-10 to the benefit of the German government. We share so much information with the Germans. I don't think we should squeeze that pipeline. I don't think we should reduce it. But I do think we need to point out to the Germans this relationship, even with all of its troubles, is still immensely beneficial to them.
And given the fact that the Germans benefit so much from the relationship, do you believe this expulsion will be the equivalent of like a 2-week additional summer vacation for the station chief, and then quietly he'll be reinserted? Was there a time attached to this expulsion?
No, it'll be permanent. He'll have to go home, and a new station chief will have to be identified and sent forward. Look, the agency is a very large and talented organization. We've got a lot of folks who will be able to handle the job. It'll be interesting, and I don't think the Germans would do this because I think it would be badly overstepping. It would be interesting that will the Germans grant a visa to the next man we identify as station chief so that he can go and begin to mend fences and continue the, as I said, mutually productive intelligence relationship. I doubt that they will do that, but that is always their option.
And given the culture of intelligence gathering and statecraft, Mike, is there any temptation at Langley or at State or within our intelligence apparatus, or maybe even the White House, to say, you know, now it's time for a reassessment of our own. Here are a couple of guys we know are snooping around for Germany. Let's send them home. Or will this be it, and the United States will just tamp this down and move forward?
We'll probably have a real heart-to-heart at the political level about any planned or actual American intelligence activity in that area. And there'll have to be a high-order political judgment done. Is anything that might be going on worth the political cost that we will clearly incur should it be identified? Look, JD, you and I have talked about this a lot. I'm not uncomfortable with spying. I'm not apologetic about spying against Germany if that's going on, given the importance of Germany to the world and certainly to Europe. But I really am against spying badly. And when you spy badly, you embarrass not only yourself, but we embarrass a friend. And there's no question, Germany's a friend. You know, I was in Munich in February, and I was on stage with my counterpart, the head of the BND, a good friend, a family friend. This has been a long and productive relationship. But, you know, back to the sharing of intelligence and how much goes one way and how much goes the other. I actually mentioned on stage that the National Intelligence Program in the United States was $50 billion a year. And August Honning, my counterpart, turned and looked at me and said, oh, my goodness, our budget is about €500 million per year. And so you can see how productive this relationship would be for the Germans.
And with that in mind, in terms of dollars and cents as opposed to Deutschmarks, and before we let you go, General Hayden, for purposes of full disclosure, in the World Cup, you're rooting for which nation?
I've lived in Germany. I know the Argentines are in the same hemisphere, but I'm going for the Germans. We're having Germans. I'm having family over. We're cooking brats on the grill, and we'll be sipping pills and cheering.
Well, there you have it, your own small step toward private reconciliation among the two nations. General Mike Hayden, we thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Now, for in-depth analysis and forecasting on U.S. intelligence gathering and not necessarily World Cup results, you want to go to lignet.com to get information on intelligence. The issue of spying on our allies once again in the news, and you heard General Hayden talk about there's a difference between spying and bad spying, so to speak. And to have this happen, whether the president or not had knowledge, this is yet another embarrassment for the Obama administration. VA, IRS scandal, where the president said in a nationally televised interview there was not even a smidgen of corruption. Now you've got this to add to it. No wonder the president seemed to be a little frustrated yesterday in Texas dealing with the hecklers.
Yeah, you know, and especially to juxtapose that to his walk on the street in Colorado where he was having a good time apparently. Of course, the president did get in some barbecue while he was in Austin, Texas at the famous Franklin Barbecue. A lot of folks have to wait in line for hours, sometimes the entire day. I don't think the president had to wait in line.
I understand there were some pretty expensive barbecue dinners last night in terms of fundraising for the Democrats as well. So the fundraising continues. Politics is never separated and never far behind in terms of public policy. When we come back, the troubling policy on our borders, we'll get the latest there. But we'd love to hear from you where you think this intelligence discombobulation goes next. Why don't you tweet us your comments at Newsmax TV, hashtag America's Forum. A new place to do it via computer, newsmaxtv.com/comment. And there's also facebook.com/Newsmax. We are coming back with more next on America's Forum.